This is the reality of showing condos in our current market. Absolutely insane. Took me about 15 minutes after having to call the agents to figure out which lock boxes were theirs. Absolutely insane.
You know, I've always felt like condos are a scam, especially here in Canada, where the prices for these condos can go into the millions in terms of dollar value, especially in places like Vancouver and Toronto. But what's been happening recently? It looks like the condo prices in those respected cities are tanking. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're not getting international students as much as we used to, and immigration is slowing down significantly. So let's discuss it in today's video with a bunch of videos to react to and also an article to discuss as well. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Condo market in Canada, it's crashing. Maybe that's a good thing.
Condos are the worst investment you can do in Toronto because of the maintenance fees, which are criminal. Believe it or not, condo fees exist everywhere. It's not just in Toronto. Now, with that said, it's very important that you know what's actually included in the condo fees. Now, luckily, some condo fees include things like water. You only have to pay for hydro. But with that maintenance fees, you're also getting a 24-hour security in some cases, a really nice gym, very clean building. You are essentially paying for convenience. So yes, overall speaking, I believe freehold properties are better than condos. That doesn't mean all condos are bad. You see, the condos that are being built right now kind of give a bad rep. Right there, they're small, the layouts are really bad, and then the maintenance fees continue to go up, so everyone is like, don't buy condos. But you can actually pick up a really good deal or two depending on what you're looking for.
Well, a lot of the condos that are built in Vancouver and Toronto are basically like little prisons. They're little bachelor pads where you don't have any space to move around. Especially during the pandemic, a lot of people felt trapped in these little condo shells, right? And then after the pandemic happens, you wonder why a lot of these prices are tanking. People kind of realize that they felt like a prisoner in this cell that they're paying not just condo fees on, but also maybe they're paying a mortgage on, or even just renting in these places. A lot of these renters have fled and they are never coming back.
How much I'm temporarily choosing to lose every year for renting out my condo. And yeah, you heard that right. I said losing. We bought this condo 3 years ago and we're already leaving. But now is not the time to sell. So we're renting it out. Our monthly mortgage is $1,913.63. Insurance, we pay $51.35. Condo fees, and this one stings, $688.12. So far, that's $2,653.10 a month just to keep this place running. And then there's property tax. We pay $2,400 a year, which breaks down to $200 a month. Add it all up, and we're spending $2,853.10 a month just to own this condo. My renter, they're paying $2,400 a month, which means I'm losing $453.10 a month.
Condos are not really assets, especially if you're losing value every single month anyways if you're renting it. And a lot of condos, they aren't really going up in price the same way they used to, especially pre-pandemic. You're seeing a lot of condos lose value on the market, especially in places like Toronto and Vancouver. And also when it comes to condo fees, yes, there's convenience factor. You pay for security if you're in a building, obviously elevator costs as well, the windows, everything on the outside. But there's other places like townhomes that are considered condos. Like I live in a condo townhome, which is insane because our condo fees I think are way too high considering there isn't any security or anything like that. There isn't any elevator fees or any maintenance that needs to really be done for the condo. It's really just like fixing the roof here and there and the windows every 5 or 6 years. And then maybe during the wintertime, if we have a bad snowstorm, there's someone shoveling the snow out front. But we pay crazy amounts of money just for that, and I honestly don't think it's worth it.
Toronto's condo market has hit a 20-year rock bottom and no one is building condos anymore. That's right, there are currently over 32,000 active real estate listings in the GTA, the bulk of them being condos, and many of them are sitting on the market for weeks longer than they would have just a few years ago. The region has also reached a point of having the largest disparity between supply and demand for real estate than it has ever seen, though that does mean that affordability will continue to improve in adjustment to the market.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think that the affordability will get better, but there's still condo fees and there's still property taxes, and people are waking up and realizing that maybe living in Toronto, paying these crazy fees, paying these crazy taxes isn't really worth it, especially international students now. They're not even coming to Canada, right? So the immigration levels are slowing down as well, and that is causing a lot of market panic. In fact, this next video is really alarming if you are someone who works in real estate.
This is the reality of showing condos in our current market. absolutely insane. Took me about 15 minutes after having to call the agents to figure out which lock boxes were theirs. Absolutely insane.
Those are all real estate agents that have open houses for these condos that they're basically going to show clients who are interested in purchasing. That's just from one condo building. All of those lock boxes around there, those were all realtors' lock boxes to show the condos to people who are potentially going to buy it. Wow, that is scary.
Who wants to buy my condo right now? We are in a buyer's crisis. Like, I understand the housing crisis now. I'm in the crisis. Nobody is living in, nobody wants to live in my 400 square foot solarium and den, which is a great deal. I was gonna rent it for international students, and then they got deported. So like, I can't even make money off of the international students anymore because they're all deported now. Losing so much money.
Now, if you guys couldn't tell, that video obviously was satire. She was wiping her tears away with a $100 bill. So that's pretty funny. And that is the way a lot of people see literally real estate investors here in Canada, especially in Vancouver and Toronto. Now, my article by BlogTO, no one is building condos in Toronto anymore as market hits 20-year rock bottom. Almost every piece of data that has emerged about Toronto real estate in the last year plus has served as a disheartening blow to anyone with a stake in the market. The city's once scorching sector has slowed to a crawl and keeps waning further. And this is mostly about the condo market because the housing market has went down a little bit, but nowhere near the levels of the condo market. The latest analysis published by Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation on Monday reinforces that the new condo market specifically is in a state of deep turmoil, especially in locales like Toronto and Vancouver, where the housing type has long been a boon to investors. The National Housing Agency says that as of May, housing starts nationwide has fallen slightly from this time last year, mostly driven by weak condominium market conditions in both Toronto and Vancouver, and have pulled the stats for these hubs down drastically below this national average. And while the condo market is crashing, there's also less condo starts, so a lot of developers are not building condos. So even though the market is crashing, it may actually have a floor that's relatively high still, because again, supply and demand, if they're not building more because they can't raise funds to build these condos anymore, because a lot of it has to do with pre-sale, right? So they can at least reinvest that money to build a condo, and then those people who buy them pre-sale can sell the units usually after, and that's how sometimes people will make a quick buck flipping condos. But a lot of these condo scams are now being realized, and people are not buying condos as much anymore in these major cities in Canada, and you're seeing the market really reject it.
Keep it 100%. Home ownership is not what I expected it to be. Honestly, if I had my time back, I would never in a million years have bought a condo. I regret it so much. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. Renting, you have that like stress-free, no worry in the world. If something in my condo breaks, it's my responsibility to fix that issue. If I'm renting, I just call up my property manager, landlord, whoever, and just say, hey, this is broken, this appliance isn't working. It's their responsibility to send somebody in and fix that ASAP. When you're a homeowner, you're the one that has to do the research on finding someone to come in. You're the one that has to take the time and make sure everything's working smoothly. It's such a headache.
Now, let me know your thoughts about that. I've actually heard that from some people, that it is better to rent than to own. Now, owning a condo is nowhere near as good as owning a freehold place. But again, you have to have some responsibilities. You need to have some handyman experience, or even just enough money to actually pay for someone to fix little problems in the house. But I still think renting is a waste of money compared to owning, because at the end of the day, you can sell your home and you get that rent money back. You don't have that option when you're renting. You don't get any of that money back at the end of the day. So anyways, I wanted to just talk about this because it's a subject that's been on my mind lately, and it's interesting to see the condo market finally show cracks in places like Toronto. So interesting, maybe a time to buy for someone who really wants to live in Toronto. But honestly, I don't think that's a great idea right now, because the condo market looks like it's going to be going down even further. And leave your thoughts about that down below in the comment section. And with that being said, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.